It's 6 o'clock and I'm calling this meeting to order. Good evening and welcome, everyone. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on the city's YouTube channel. Great to see so many people again tonight that are interested in our budget discussions. So I hope you hang around for those. Just a reminder to the audience, whether you are presenting or just commenting on an agenda topic, please come to the podium and wait to be recognized by the mayor, stating your name. There's a 7-minute time limit. This is a special meeting, and special meetings are usually for a specific topic like our budget tonight. Special meeting agendas do not include citizens not on the agenda as a topic. However, limited questions or comments relating to the agenda topics being discussed may be allowed. Above all, please show courtesy and respect at all times. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to a roll call, please. Marianne Wainwright. Deb Molly.
Dan Wassinger. Mike here.
Cindy Anderson.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, please, which consists just of our meeting agenda tonight.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Please note in the minutes that tonight our temporary minutes taker is Councilmember Anderson, and we have Chase Harrison on all technology, and thank you to both of them. Okay, moving on to item number 5. Our first topic tonight is to consider a resolution to approve the 2026 Fairfax Complex Pickleball and Tennis Court bid awards. We have the city engineer, Shane Wicks. Once he gets the volume going here, to talk about pickleball.
Yeah, so we received 9 bids for the pickleball and tennis court projects. The low bidder was Abode Construction Inc. out of Marion. Has everybody had a chance to look at the bid tab and look at the memo recommendation?
Shane, could you tell us what the engineer's estimate was and what the bid is?
So the engineer's estimate for the base bid was $465,000, and with the 2 alternate bids along with base bid was $500,000. The low bid from Bode, the base bid was $338,570.15, and the base bid with both alternates 1 and 2 is a total of $361,324.90. No,
That's incorrect.
that was incorrect.
So that sounds like a good bid.
Yes, yeah, all the bids came in very good, and obviously there's a lot of interest either in that project or just in more projects in the area, because 9 bids is a lot of bids. Usually we see, every types of project fluctuate, but 3 to 5 bids, typically maybe 6, so 9 is a lot of bidders.
Council Shane, laid on your table some pictures of the layout. For those of you who aren't familiar with this project, yes, I don't know, that's not in the packet, right?
So-
Shane?
I think it'd be in the packet, yeah.
There we go.
So, obviously, along with awarding the bid, the council has to consider, award just base bid, or you want to award the base bid with alternate 1. Base bid with just alternate 2, or base bid with both alternates 1 and 2. So, alternate 1 is the addition of slats, fence slats in the perimeter fencing, and the fencing between the pickleball courts and the tennis courts. So that'd be kind of shown on that second sheet. So the slats, provide some privacy, but especially with pickleball, provides us a wind block. If you're familiar with pickleball, you know, obviously the ball is wiffle ball, basically, and it's very light and can be impacted pretty easily with the wind. So But, so the alternate one would be, the price the contractor provided is to install the slats. If the city council chose to move forward with alternate number one, the city would purchase the slats and provide the slats to the contractor to install. So in that memo, it talks about the different options with the alternate one, so. Depending on who the city goes with to get the slats, and with shipping and things like that, we anticipate that the cost for purchasing the slats would be. Approximately $8,900 for all the fencing, and then that price that the contractor provided. I think from both was around just shy of $2,100, so. That would add approximately $11,000 for alternate one on top of the base bid. And that's spelled out in the memo too. Then alternate two, so if you go to that first plan sheet. Alternate two is the paving on that west side of the court, so it'll be the paving in between the existing parking lot and the proposed courts. So the base bid includes PCC concrete paving from the handicap parking at the southeast corner of the park up to the two south entrances to the pickleball courts and the tennis court. But then we get an alternate bid for additional paving along that west side that would provide paved access to the existing trail that runs along the south side of Lynn Street and another access to that main portion of the existing parking lot. So that would be alternate two. And I should mention too, and it is pointed out in the memo, but with the base bid, the city would purchase and supply the net post and the netting and materials that go along with that. So I think we anticipate about $5,400 in cost for the city to purchase that equipment, and the contractor would install that and as part of their bid. So are there any questions with the base bid or either of the alternates?
Are you guys putting lights around it or not?
There's no lights.
So lights.
So Shane, remind us of the proposed construction schedule.
It's scheduled to start after USA days. So at the very end of June, beginning of July, they have a couple of weeks in there to get started. With the anticipation completion date around October 1st somewhere.
So council, your decision tonight on this topic is whether to accept Abode Construction's base bid, base with alternate one, base with alternate two, or all alternates. It's the low bid. Any thoughts, discussion?
So if the city doesn't, do the other two, they still purchase things and then they would be responsible for putting it in.
I'm sorry, ask that again.
So you want, the city is going to be paying for the posts and the fencing and stuff to give to the contractor to put that in, correct? If we go with all
The fencing itself is part of the base bid. It's the slats that you put in the fencing. That helps it basically as a windbreak. That's alternate one. So if you didn't choose alternate one, then the slats wouldn't be built as part of the project.
then at some point the city would have, people.
Yeah, I mean,
do that.
it would be something that, if ultimately the city wanted, the city would have to buy and install themselves. It's the same, same type concept with that walk on the south or the west side, it's like, it's not absolutely necessary. You do have to have ADA accessibility. That's why that south walk from the handicap parking is installed as part of the base bid. But we figured, depending on how quotes come in, we'll bid as an alternate because, it would be nice to have, but it's not absolutely necessary to get constructed. That's why those items were bid as alternates, but obviously the pricing never gets better. We got a very good quote. They're definitely very good amenities for the courts.
Plus with the city purchasing the slats, and the nets to have the contractor put them in, we avoid the contractor upcharge for those items. And we just pay our normal price for them.
Is there a reasoning why we didn't bid with lights?
Yes, there is. The cost of the lights originally would have put us well over the $600,000 that we had bonded for.
Okay.
And when you think about our pickleball court, it's basically April through the end of September, depending on the weather. And in those times, the park's only open until 10. The majority of that time, the sun's gonna go down about 9:30. So it's only about a half hour that we would really need lights for. You get out to, this type of year, lights or no lights doesn't make any difference. Nobody's out playing pickleball today. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Council, any other questions, discussions, motions?
I'll make a motion to approve abode construction base plus all alternatives, so the full, 361,
324.90.
yeah.
Second. This
Was
is
that
with
with, I'm sorry, was that with both?
everything.
Alternate 1 and 2.
With everything.
Do we have to modify this resolution? Considering that there's no city clerk currently, and Cynthia is not employed by the city?
Yeah, that's just a Word document. And we haven't gotten further direction on it, put in there, so that can be addressed, and obviously depending on what comes with the alternates, that can all be addressed.
So this is a resolution, so I need a roll call, please. Cindy? Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Thank you. All right. Anything else that you need from us, Shane, on that topic?
No, thank you.
Very well. Okay. Move on to item number 6. Discussion and possible motion to post the city clerk position and form hiring committee. This was just a little bit, the city council, you hadn't seen a proposed description for that job posting yet, so I had placed that on your table. And have a question for you on that posting. You'll see highlighted that this may be the appropriate time to make this an exempt position. And then also I have a proposed salary range. Most clerks, not all, but many clerks are exempt, basically meaning salary. Any comments, discussion from the council on that? If you approve the way it's worded, it would go on the League of Cities website, fax newsletter, standard bulletin boards, Indeed.com, Corridor Careers, LinkedIn, those types of places. And I would suggest that it be posted very minimum of 2 weeks, possibly longer. And if not hearing any questions from council yet, I see we have someone important.
You do. Cynthia Stimson, Marion, Iowa. I would just like to point out that you should take time to revise the city clerk's job description. I have a copy with me. It's 8 pages long. And based on recent events, it appears that some of the council is not aware of everything in it. And certainly before you advertise, you should have a reviewed, agreed upon job description, because the applicants are gonna, that's something that we give out in the packet right away. So I would suggest you do that. And then I would just like to make a statement about the process. Let me start by stating this has not been business as usual in City Hall. The first week I was assisting over the phone for free, and I've been in the office for 4 days mentoring to help staff and city operations. Tasks that we've worked on, and this is to try to keep you informed of what's involved with the position. Minutes from the 8th and the 13th.
Cynthia, we're going off topic. Would you,
No, I'm not going off topic. I'm talking about the city clerk position. And so that the council can be aware of the ongoing tasks. Can I continue?
yeah, I thought maybe it's more appropriate for the next topic, but the mentoring,
I can continue.
yes.
Worked on the minutes from the 8th and the 13th, coded accounts payables, resolutions and ordinances for meetings, 1099s and W-2s, balancing December bank state accounts, payroll, emails, printing December financials, sending budget reports, loss report, budget sheet, assisting with the agenda, assisting with the packet, invoice processing, claims list, staff support, and more. And that's just in 4 days. Your city hall staff have been stressed, overburdened, and emotional. Currently, one staff member is on vacation and one is on sick leave. Just the current things not done that needed immediate attention. Finished the minutes from the 13th. Finished posting AP for January. Federally e-filing the W-2s. Fourth quarter unemployment report. No budget entry has been done on the Iowa Department of Management website. Budget sheets that you have in front of you, I compiled this afternoon, but they're not complete with the new info. Only one welcome packet is ready. Newsletters draft has not even been started. This is the 20th. Usually the draft is almost completed. Newsletter prep is not started. The boxes, the postage, everything. The website's not been updated. Electronic signs not been updated. The 210 agenda's not started. The 210 packets not started. Responses still needed to auditors. I can't read my own writing. The AP cycle is about to start again. This is the time that we start entering things for February. The input to the insurance agent for the renewal quote, he has lots of questions and I couldn't help him today. CDL testing paperwork process, it was received today and nothing was done with it. These are the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual tasks that the city clerk is responsible for with the assistance of other city hall staff. The elected officials need to make informed, fact-based decisions for the operations of Fairfax. This is a little bit about the next topic. I don't enter into agreements to do mentoring, but we can talk about that later. But I've been doing much more than mentoring, regular mentoring at Fairfax. Based on my knowledge and experience, I have a solution you can consider. Effective immediately, you could reappoint me as city clerk treasurer with the knowledge that I will retire by June 30th. As already discussed with staff, I'd already scheduled that with Chris. If you decide to do that, there'd be no lapse in benefits or seniority and at the January 1st rate. This is all to keep your operations in City Hall running smoothly. Give you time to hire a new clerk and have training time. It will get you through the budget. I will work with staff to bring down the stress and emotions in City Hall. This is what's best for Fairfax. Thank you.
Okay. So the topic on the agenda is discussion of possible motion to post the city clerk position and form a hiring committee. I agree, the job description needs updating. Discussion council.
Cynthia beat me to the punch. My suggestion was gonna be to not take any motion. And to reappoint her not only to help transition a new city clerk further down the road during the summer or whenever she chooses to retire, but more importantly, what the council did in the beginning of the month is basically made Fairfax radioactive. I can't see anybody applying for this position that would have the qualifications needed to continue day-to-day operation. So I would strongly consider, I know we can't make a motion about it tonight, but to table this, reappoint Cynthia. And then get through budgeting, get payroll, get everything back to how it should be and how it was before that debacle. And then take a serious look at revising the city clerk responsibilities and putting out a hiring committee at that time.
So is your motion to table the discussion for this evening?
Yes,
That's about as far as it could go.
I understand. I can't make a motion about reappointment. Right?
Right.
I agree, I think the job description needs to be complete and accurate, and it's not.
So we have a motion and a second to table this discussion.
Before we vote, I think we also have to have the conversation about whether or not to make it salary based for salary.
Okay,
The potential current situation you're talking about or going forward?
Going forward.
so what are your thoughts, Mike?
On tabling this?
No, on the salary position.
Oh, I would have to get feedback from clerks on whether or not they believe that. I know you said some are salary, some are hourly. I know the advantages and disadvantages of both, but considering some of the hours, for example, Tina put in this last week to keep things from sinking, you know, she's on leave now due to extreme physical and emotional duress, so in that instance, that'd be a good example of keeping hourly rates. So, I mean, unless someone convinces me otherwise, I don't see why we would change it to salary.
Any other thoughts, council?
Yeah, I guess I don't see any reason to change it either, we've never had an issue with the hourly
With
position.
the exception of the city administrator, I think all positions are hourly. Am I?
That's our only
Incorrect.
current salary position, yes.
Correct. And I would agree with that because he's admin. You know, so
Yeah, well,
He's more of a
he's-
salary
yeah.
position.
So I have a motion. Oh,
Sorry. I would just point out that determining whether it's hourly or salary is not on your agenda.
Correct.
So it was just part of the job, wasn't it? But. You got you, Mike.
Off topic.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor to table the discussion for this evening. So,
To table, be hired.
The table forming a hiring committee, correct? And do you want me to wait till the end of the meeting to ask for the next meeting to have the potential reappointment, or is that something we need?
you'd have to submit that separately from this meeting.
Well, it doesn't have to be submitted in writing. It can be added by two people at the end. Did we want to wait until the end of the meeting, or do it now?
I'm confused by what you just said, sorry.
Do you want me to wait till the end of the meeting to ask for the next month's agenda to include a topic about her temporary reappointment? Until at which time she retires and we find a replacement. I don't know what the term is. We used RITESY right in the military where she can train the person that she's replacing. Or kind of, show her the ropes, whatever. That doesn't have to be in writing. We had topics all the time without it. That's something that we do all the time with citizens, not on the agenda where they ask for a topic to be asked.
Duly noted, I would
So-
appreciate.
That's what, do you want me to wait or do it now?
Well, there's no waiting on this. There's no citizens not on the agenda on a special.
I'm not a citizen, I don't have to, I can talk longer than 7 minutes too, not that anybody wants to hear me talk longer than.
Sorry,
7
that
minutes.
applies to everyone.
It doesn't, I assure you. So,
Duly noted. Okay, so,
Making sure that I got that right. Keep on doing.
we're tabling the hiring committee, that is my motion.
well, and the posting. Or
And the
just,
post, yes,
Yeah.
So that the posting can be adjusted to what it
Correct.
actually.
reflective of the actual duties.
correct. So a motion and a second. So I need a vote.
I,
I'm looking for ayes. Aye. Nays? You have to be one or the other, council.
and I'm staying,
Tabling both topics. Coming back at the next. Technically not part of this, but coming back the next meeting with. Job description reviewed, etc., correct?
yes, the only motion I'm allowed to make is to table the
Right,
hiring committee and the posting of the job,
Right.
which is what I did.
and then separately, he's submitting a request for the next meeting.
Correct.
But not part of this motion. Can't be.
Also correct.
It's not part of this motion. No, this is just tabling this until they can correct the job description.
Aye.
Aye.
That's prudent, I will agree with that. I'm sorry. I'm not-
She said yes.
I said, I think that's prudent, I will agree with that.
All right, so we're gonna help, Councilmember Anderson here as she's taking the minutes. So it's that five ayes to that motion to table.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So, thank you. Let me make a note of that as well. So table. So we need to move on to number 7 and see your preference on what we're doing in the meantime. So, as Cynthia mentioned, she has been providing mentoring services and the other in your packet, there was Councilor Wozniak proposed a potential independent contractor agreement. And then what's not in your packet is I received some information today by a couple of third-party consultants that also could provide such services. So Cynthia would like to share some information and.
Yeah, just letting you know that I have mentored several cities for years. And never entered into an agreement with a city. If they needed me to come, they call. If I want to go and I'm available, I go. I invoice them every time I'm there, and if they don't ever need me again, I don't ever go back. If they need me the next week, they call again. It's strictly on what they need, okay? On the other cities that I mentor, I sit next to the clerk and I instruct them. I almost never even touch the mouse. It's all they're doing and they're learning as they're doing. The mentoring here is different. Because I have been doing it for 16 years. I know our system. I not only know how to do AP, which another consultant can know how to do, but I know how to do our AP process, and every city is a little bit unique like that. I know our laserfish, I know our processes, I know our projects. In other cities, I have a much lower rate. Fairfax, I'm charging $80 an hour, which is my regular rate with Benny's plus what I charge them per hour. I know that I needed to be here for staff and for operations. That's what was best for Fairfax. It's not best for Fairfax for me to charge $80 an hour, but I'm not coming to mentor for less. You need the operations to continue. and you need somebody that knows the system. That's why my other proposal is the best option for Fairfax. It's the least expensive, it's the least disruptive, it's the best for staff. It's not the best for me, I'm making more money now per day than I was before. But it's what's best for Fairfax, and that's what all of your staff has been working for years to do.
Just one quick comment, on some information that I got today from another independent organization, Simmering Quarry, Iowa Codification. Provides, budget and reporting support for cities. Their hourly rate was quoted at 115.
Cynthia, did you hear that? You need to increase it.
Can I say something? Mike Sankey, your fire chief. I just want to say to the council, I've been your fire chief for 32 years. I've been dealing with councils, mayors, citizens for a long time. I see all the stuff behind the scene that nobody sees. And what Cynthia is trying to do, what she's done for the last few days here for this town is unbelievable. Most people sitting here would just tell everybody to go straight to it and not come back because caution was dismissed. You need to realize when she stands up here and tells you all the work that she does, it's probably twice that much if you really sit down and think about it, because I've been dealing with it for a long time. There's been 6 city clerks since I've been fire chief. She's the best one we've ever had. You need to allow her to come back and finish to her retirement date and help whoever you're going to hire to take her job to teach her about Fairfax. The woman's never lived here, but she cares about Fairfax more than half the people that lives here. And she does a lot to try to protect it. And she's trying to save face right now for the town by coming back and trying to save us because we're in a sinking hole. I mean, if you just think about what's going to happen in the next 3 days, who's going to come in and pay your employees that are working every day? I'm the volunteer fire chief, so that doesn't bother me, but your water department, sewer department, parks department, everyone. They expect to have that paycheck every week, and I think they have a right to get it. I think you need to get her back in here to help get everything straight and teach who's ever gonna come in to learn what Fairfax is all about.
A couple quick comments. So our topic on the agenda is regarding possible continuation of mentoring at the rate as quoted. Should mention that I've not received any retirement statements or anything. If it was presented to the city administrator, he didn't share that, so that caught me off guard. I'm not aware that had occurred.
Well, the real thing is, once again, did anybody actually ask Cynthia if she'd be willing to sign an agreement before putting this on the agenda and speaking with her about it? Because I'll already tell you what the answer is. The answer is no, it's not required. So the real question is, why are we even talking about this?
Well, because in order to continue with her mentoring.
You're suggesting a contract.
No, I'm not. No, I'm all in favor of her continuing the mentoring process on an as needed basis. That's what I fully support. With that doesn't require any contract at all. She just needs to invoice us as it occurs, and someone has to approve her coming in, which I have been doing. So that's what I'm in favor of, is continuing that. And yes, I was aware that she was not interested in a contract, but it was suggested to be on the agenda, so I allowed it for discussion purposes only. So that's my thought. We have someone else.
Yeah, I think,
Hang on a minute, I wanna make sure I understand this real quick. What you support is her to continue what she's doing right now, which leaves the staff of City Hall in complete shambles. You do not support trying to get those people back on the right track and doing their job. What you, don't interrupt me, please.
Joe,
Please do not interrupt me. What
Joe.
you support is to continue the way it is right now, which is
Joe.
our people in City
Joe.
Hall have red faces from crying all day long.
please, you can share your thoughts, but please go to the
I
podium.
shared my thoughts right here.
Mark,
I cannot believe you guys did not get this.
So just so we're all aware, we can't make a motion unless it's on the agenda, as Cynthia just pointed out a few minutes ago. So all we can do today is approve. We can or cannot approve her continuing her mentoring. Mike is trying to get it added to the agenda so we can make that motion. It's not on the agenda tonight, so we can't actually do that.
I want to make sure I'm clear what she supports. That's what I want to make sure, that the CEO supports the City Hall being ran like it is right now, which is shambles.
Joe,
I said,
So if it makes it on, I'm just gonna make up a day and just say next Tuesday, right? So if it's on the agenda for Tuesday, really what we're discussing today is between today or tomorrow.
whatever day, right? The next meeting is,
Right. So,
right, that's all we're discussing tonight. So the next scheduled council meeting is February 10th. I have information that one council member is going to not be available for a while. Marianne, when is your,
I'm on vacation, so I can't be here at that meeting,
which one?
the 10th.
The reality is we can have a special as long as we have a 24-hour posted notice. We could have it by Thursday or Friday. Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
We could do one as soon as Thursday or Friday if we wanted to.
So. But you
Oh,
have to allow for, okay, we have someone at the podium, so let's,
Our measures, 125 Radisson Avenue. At the last council meeting, I implored the council to first seek to understand and to be understood. And as far as the contract goes at $80 an hour, I don't know if everybody caught exactly what she said. But she said $80 an hour is her hourly rate plus benefits, plus she would charge somebody to mentor. The mayor shared information that the contracted rate that she has received from an outside third party is $115 an hour. As you talk about this contract, there is an obvious solution to this, and Cynthia provided it tonight. And there is a simple process, hopefully over the last, 5 days, 6, 7 days. Hopefully we've sought to understand what the city clerk's role is. Hopefully we've sought to understand what the city clerk does. And hopefully we've sought to understand what the lack of reappointing the city clerk has done to the city as you talk about contracting somebody at anywhere from $80 to $115 an hour. There is a Japanese legend that says something like, if you find yourself on the wrong train, get off at the next stop. The longer you stay on it, the more expensive the return trip will be. And I think the city of Fairfax is finding out that the return trip is getting pretty expensive. At a contracted rate of $80 an hour, that comes out to roughly $3,200 a week. That, if my math is correct, comes out to roughly $12,800 a month, which is a pretty hefty rate. How long are you going to sit at a contracted rate until somebody takes the job? I have heard from other city clerks who I still know that said the fact that she was not reappointed and now is looking at being contracted. To say it was a shock in the clerk world was an understatement, and that is a direct quote. So as you look at this and you talk about contracting, there is a simple solution in front of you. It just means you have to take it. It's okay in your life to be wrong. Part of being a well-formed adult is being able to admit when you are wrong and to remedy it.
And as far as we're talking about contracting,
We're not talking about contracting.
well, yeah, that's exactly what's on there. That's exactly what's on item number 7. You're talking about mentoring and contracting with a clerk at $80 an hour. So that's exactly what you're talking about, correct?
No, she doesn't want a contract. Mentoring is not,
I'm sorry,
mentoring does not.
I'm sorry, proposed independent contract agreement, City of Fairfax is under item number 7. So if we're not talking about contracting, I would love to understand what the interpretation
No, that's,
behind the table is proposed independent
Okay.
contractor agreement, City of Fairfax.
Mark, the agenda topic is discussion and possible motion regarding the continuation of mentoring. You're reading the topic
And
of something that's included in the packet, which has. Mark? Please, we're not talking about a contract unless the council wants to. The council. First of all, I need to state that any reappointment possibilities would need to be discussed with the attorney for procedure. Okay, so that, excuse me?
Of course.
I don't think it would be. I think we would just put it on the agenda and we could.
Well, I need the attorney's opinion.
Of course we do.
I mean, you guys in your.
Well, anyway, if we have another meeting and we have it on the other meeting agenda, you would have time to look into that before the meeting.
Right. So all we're talking about right now is, do you want her to continue mentoring services until the next step, whatever that may be?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
I did you second?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
It's up to her, if she wants to continue mentoring before I vote. So that's my question to Cynthia before I vote. Do you want to continue mentoring? I mean, I know your position, but I wanna hear it.
I want to support staff in the Fairfax operations. If I know that there's going to be a special before the end of January to discuss my reappointment, I'm here to mentor. If that's off the table, not a possibility, I'm gone.
Okay,
In that case,
It's okay to mentor, but not to work here.
in that case, I vote yes, and just reiterate that we need to find as soon as possible when we can have another special to reconsider the reappointment.
all right. I will explore that and contact everybody for availability purposes. So. Okay,
And did you vote?
Is that aye?
okay.
We all got voted on that.
Yeah.
Did you? Did you?
Yeah,
vote aye?
he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
think
I
we're all
suppose.
voting.
So we're all aye.
We're all on. Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to capital improvement project. Shane is gonna guide us through that. He's provided us some handouts. Now we're into the budget.
So for the newer council members, brief description of the CIP capital improvement projects, you may be fully aware of it, maybe not, but so it's basically the city's planning document, for upcoming projects and, large expense items. We typically break it down into the 1-year CIP for the upcoming fiscal year, which is July 1st. In this case, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. And then with the 5-year CIP, which will be 2 years out and 5 years out. Then we do the 10-year CIP, which will be 6 years out and 10 years. For the most part, it's kind of a placeholder. The projects that we'd like to see happen, or if we got something that's takes a while to get the funding lined up and maybe have 6 to 10 years, but obviously the primary focus is the 1-year CIP, to help work out the city's budget. The document on the agenda is, there's 3 sheets there. The first sheet's the 1-year CIP, second sheet is the 5-year CIP, and the third sheet is the 10-year CIP. So basically what 1-year CIP has on there is some carryover projects from the last few years. And then a few projects that, city staff is requesting to be put on there. The council can move those up, move them off, take them off, move the projects around, it's the council's decision. A lot of those numbers, most of those numbers have not been updated. I need to meet with, Mayor Beer and city staff, and kind of go through, what the existing project numbers are, if we need any additional budgeting for them. Obviously, the proposed projects, we need to work out some of those numbers. This was originally submitted on the December council agenda. Really, the only thing that's been changed was we added 80th Street and Highway 150 intersection project, which falls into the 1-year CIP and then falls into the 5-year CIP. A lot of your bigger projects may fall under both 1-year and 5-year. And it's highlighted in that light green on those two sheets. Those numbers are just taken off the budgetary numbers that we gave for that application that we considered back at the special meeting on January 9th. A couple other items I'll point out. The Vanderbilt Street Improvement Project at the Union Pacific Railroad crossing. And that's been an ongoing project for a few years. And it's trying to address some of the grade issues at Vanderbilt Street and the Union Pacific Railroad crossing there next to the grain elevators. Right now, that on the spreadsheet, they've got some on, we've got some on the 1-year CIP, we've got some on the 5-year CIP. When that was last updated, the city was looking at getting some participation funding through the DOT and the Union Pacific Railroad. And the thought was that was gonna take a couple of years to get that through. So Mayor Beer and staff and I met last Monday with the DOT representative and several representatives from the Union Pacific and Manesh, which is the consultant they use. And we'll have to clarify some of this, but the DOT representative made it sound like funding's been approved and it's available. I don't know if that means it's available now, available July 1st, October 1st, it's fiscal year funding, or how that all looks out. So we'll have to get some more detail on that. So that funding may have to be moved around a little bit, because the bulk of that is out in the 2 to 5 year CIP. Again, like I said, a lot of these projects are carryover. We'll have to rework some of those numbers out. And for the CIP, one of the items we put on there for the December agenda was the addressing issues with possible blending water from well number 3, which is like the existing water tower in the new wells and farms property well field. That kind of stemmed from some conversations with the ENRs, coordinating with,
No, take your time, take your time. I know basketball game is pretty exciting.
and coordinating with the city consultant, water supply consultant, ISG, they don't think that's a significant concern. So I think at this point, we recommend taking that off the CIP.
So they don't think that's needed now, the blending,
We don't think it's gonna be a big issue. There may be some things down the road that we need to address, but
not right now.
definitely nothing for this year, and we probably should put off the FY or the 5-year CIP as well at this point. There may be some other, more cost-effective solutions too, after things develop with the well field and the water supply treatment. We may be able to do a little bit of improvements up at well 3 and the treatment facility there. We may not need to do anything, so we'll kind of see how that develops, but I think we can definitely put that off the CIP. So,
Well, that's good news on that one, Shane.
yeah, that's good. So I don't know if council members have had a chance to kind of look through that list. We provide the project, we provide, kind of the funding, provide some information to the right under the notes, and we try to tie them together, if they're falling under the 1-year CIP and the 5-year CIP. But if there's, any direction council wants to provide tonight, we'll note that, or, look at it and. Get a hold of Mayor Beer and city staff and let them know if you got any questions that develop here in the next, few days or a few weeks, and we'll try to get that implemented, but. And, once I have the chance to sit down with Mayor Beer and city staff, hopefully we can go through and get those numbers tighter for you.
So on the library building, they're projecting that to cost about 3.7 million. They're asking for 1 million of that to be out of the GO bond.
Yeah, and I know Chris had worked on a lot of that stuff, so I don't know the details. Yeah, I'll let him, but yeah, so I know Chris was working on different things with that. He just asked me to put it on the 1 year CIP, so. But want to speak to that now?
Well, whenever you tell me.
Oh, let's wait till we get to the library's budget, and then we can speak more to it. Shane,
Whenever.
the pickleball courts are still on the 1 year.
Yeah, so again, like I said, I just carried over some things and that may be able to go away completely. And obviously with the good quotes we've got, the actual dollars that will probably be spent on that will be below that budget. So those are just some of the numbers we need to work out.
So potentially it would be the next fiscal year though, because construction wouldn't start.
Yeah, so the city will be spending money in FY 27 on that project, but if the money, I think the money was even bonded in 2025. I think the city has the money available, but those are some of the details I need to coordinate with the city staff. And I just like to keep stuff on there until I'm told let's pull it off.
Well, it also shows we don't need any additional funding in there.
And so we have a column with this available funds and needed funds on there. There's the intersection projects and the well project and some of that, either completely funded or, may need a little bit more funding. Those are some of the details we need to work through.
Was there anything specifically on the 2 to 5 year? You had mentioned the water blending. I'm looking for that.
Yeah, the water blending, I think that's, so on the 2 to 5 year and on the 10 year, we estimate when we need that. Obviously, if it's project that's been started or things started in the 1 year and it's carrying over to the second year, we need some additional funding. They're towards the top, so the years out, if we have to anticipate, okay, year 2, we're gonna need that money, that project's gonna happen, and it kind of works down. Same thing on the 10 year plan, we kind of anticipate when both projects may be done, but need the funding. But yeah, the blending issues, that item can probably go away. The 80th Street highway intersections highlighted in the green, so, that funding, if you recall, we talked about it a week ago or week and a half ago with the application. Probably become available in 2030, but we obviously have to do some planning, right of acquisition, and design, things like that before we get there. And then the UP Railroad Vanderbilt Street crossing, we can probably get some more detail on that. If that needs to get moved up to the 1 year or stay 2 years out. But there may be, based on council's feedback, there may be some other projects that get moved around. But.
I
just
Move the rec center to 6 to 10.
I'm sorry, what was that, Mike?
I know this is all pretend and we move it every year, but I'd probably push the rec center out 6 to 10.
I don't even see it on. Oh, there it is.
It's right underneath the blended
Right.
water.
We have any detail on what that actually is, other than this recreational center?
It's the first phase of the Mike Daly Aquatic Center and Fun Time Zone project.
Just a quick note, down towards the bottom of the 2 to 5 year, you'll see city participation in convergent energy site development. Was greatly surprised to receive an email regarding the conversion project. Haven't heard from them for a while. They're still around, but it looks, they got approval to move their project date, it looks like a couple of years from now. But they're still in the game, so.
So yeah, that's one that, like I said, I'll have to coordinate some of those details and just pull off the list or get some back. And sounds like that, and then just gets us back to 5 years.
Well, Jane, on the 6 to 10, there's at the very bottom, the railroad quiet zone. Is that something that can be combined with the potential?
You can, there's issues with
Now, or is
that.
not?
I mean, right now, the funding is for the safety aspect of the railroad crossing and. I'm sure you're very familiar with it, some people do not, but obviously you get the north side of the tracks and the low dips and. Low riding semis will be caught up there and issues some major safety issues, but. That's the primary concern. I know there's been some conversation. You know, with council, with staff and Mayor Beer about, trying to get a quiet zone implemented there. There are some concerns because of the access to the grain elevators there and I think it's Railroad Street. The quiet zone, you have to put curbing so people, can't jump the curb and cross and go through the.
Like a median, right?
There you have to install medians, so then that causes issues with access to Railroad Street, the grain mill. So there's not, is it possible? Yes, it's possible, but we see things that would have to be addressed with that. And they wouldn't be easy fixes.
Also, any other immediate, comments yet, need to have some discussion as we move forward. You have in your packet the budget schedule as to when things have to be accomplished and finalized, so we're not really making a lot of decisions tonight. These are just some suggestions that will require more discussion. And moving forward, we'll have the departments talk about their requests, and again, it will involve more than one discussion moving forward. Anything else for Shane on the CIP though? Immediately, it may change next time you see it.
Do you think it's prudent to move the 80th Street expansion up to the 2 to 5, or we need to wait for traffic counts to decide on that?
The 80th Street.
So basically doing it to a Super 3 from Williams to the city boundary, I think is what that basically means.
So we can move it to wherever we want. I think part of that being pushed out is because of the it's on, so the numbers on the far left are part of the long range transportation plan, and they kind of correlate with the long range transportation plan. So that's a separate project, the long range transportation plan. I would have to look back on, but I think it's scoped fairly well, in the metro area. So it's one of those things where, could it get, obviously the focus is in the intersection improvements right now at Highway 151 and 80th Street. But I think the reason it's kind of out there in the 6 to 10 is, maybe we're more realistically to get funding further down the road. But obviously if it's high priority and if we get other funding for it, it definitely get moved around. But I think that's why it's out there, Mike.
That priority might shift with all the data centers now. There's the traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic out there.
When would be the best time to get a traffic study?
So what we've got in the 80th Street 151 project. So there's some funding on the 1 year CIP, and that would include traffic study at that intersection. So now you can do it whenever you want. We can do it sooner than later, but from a budgeting standpoint, I put it on the CIP as part of that project. My understanding is, the MPO will make their decision on funding with that application we submitted for that intersection, June or July. And then, we'll know, okay, we've got funding and then we want to move forward with the project. If it does get funding and we're gonna get start construction in 2030, then we want to get that process started. But if it's something you want to do, regardless of the possible funding for the MPO, we can definitely get that one done and get that process started. But that was part of that initial cost on the CIP. Right.
I would suggest we wait until the next construction season starts at the data center. That's when the amount of people out there is supposed to about triple. So that would be my recommendation.
For a traffic study.
It's supposed to go from about 2,500 to around 7,500 to 10,000. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay,
And then regardless of MPO. If we were to look at that intersection. On a 1 year. The roundabout. Simpler than. Adding in a bunch of lanes
The roundabout was more money.
up front.
And
But-
if you do the roundabout, you have to disrupt the whole intersection. If we do what we proposed and he would just do the side streets. So you wouldn't really have construction on, to start off with, we would just be adding, correct?
So the. Realigning the street, the skew, the angle, we talked about at the special meeting. Obviously, and the length of the roadway, and some of that can be modified based on design speed, posted speed. But in that, the actual length we need for those turn lanes would be dictated by traffic counts. But obviously, that cost got pretty expensive. To do a roundabout cost, I mean, we have to look at it in more detail. I think it would still be more expensive, but it wouldn't be as much more expensive. Part of the cost that was originally laid out in the MPO's process was part of that project was doing improvements all the way down 80th Street to East Cemetery Road, which we pulled that out. So those costs would go away. And then there was the inflation cost, because that project was 2039 or something like that, or 2040. So it was another 10 years down the road, so. So that cost got really inflated with the additional work on that and with the additional inflation. Obviously, if we get the project going sooner, you're not gonna have the inflation cost that we did pull out, you do just the roundabout, you don't do the improvements on 80th Street South with the roundabout between the roundabout and East Cemetery Road, there's some cost savings there, so. The cost would go up exactly how much, I don't know if we go up 25%, I mean, the overall budget, I think was 3 point some million with everything in, 2.7 for construction, goes up to 3.2 and, 4 million, I don't know. It'd go up a little bit, because Mike's point, would have a little more traffic staging. We'd have to obviously tear up the highway, which we aren't proposing to turn lanes.
There'd be a detour.
Yeah, there'd be detours. They do detours, you'd close part of it and you'd have part of it open. But the long-term cost too, they tend to be cheaper because you don't have the traffic signals. But
any other questions for Shane on any of the CIP?
But Stan, you just mentioned something about a 1 year CIP, moving it up to the 1 year.
To see what it would look like.
I mean, if that's what council wants, we can move it up, and you're saying to change it to a roundabout and move it to a 1 year CIP.
But that would be 100% city funded then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we can request funding.
You have like there's, what was it, like 700 some thousand. The representative from the DOT was speaking about 2 different. What's that?
Sam Schultz, this gentleman from the DOT.
Yeah, there was 2 sources, one was like 200,000, the other one was, I think it was 5 from your.
500,000 for safety funds. You'd have to apply for that, and I think he mentioned the date for that, if it was April or August. And again, once you get federal funds, you're gonna have right-of-way acquisitions. You're gonna have to go through environmental if you get right-of-way, if you get funding involved. So, I mean, you can put it on 1 year CIP, but it won't be constructed in the year. You'd have to stick with the design and the planning.
Right, one to 2, right, but.
Yeah,
It is on the 1 year, isn't it?
it starts on the 1 year.
It's on the last time on the 1 year.
Preliminary
That like
design stuff.
engineering design.
That'd be the traffic study and stuff we were talking about.
Anything else, council? for tonight anyway. Okay. Thank you, Shane.
Okay, thank you.
So, that was item number 8. Now we'll move on to item number 9. The actual budget, as I mentioned, you've got the budget schedule in your packet. And the budget worksheets in front of you. The sheet, how we're gonna do this, I think we'll start off, we're gonna kind of bounce back and forth for a few things, and you can ask the department heads questions if you like.
John, me up there.
Yes, please. Chief Sankett would like to go first.
Do you have enough money for fireworks?
Let me see. I think so. Depends on how many you want.
Lots.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. Want me to go?
Yes, please.
All right. So basically, for the new council members, I don't know how much you're aware of the fire department's budget. But the fire department's budget is all on, just on tax dollars. So the city of Fairfax pays $1 per thousand for taxable evaluation for fire protection. City of Walford pays $1.43 per thousand. The reason, years ago, when I took over, we kind of worked out a deal that Fairfax and Walford would pay the same for the taxable evaluation. And then when the price of fire trucks started to be over $500,000, I asked Walford if they would bump theirs up to get some extra money to help pay for the trucks. And the city of Fairfax gives us $60,000 from the local option sales tax. So basically that helps us make our truck payments every year. The difference in what the two towns give. The townships, which is the rural area that we protect, the state allows you to tax 60 3/4 cents per thousand. That's the max. And both of our townships pay the maximum for that fire protection. The mayor asked me yesterday if I had anything special that I needed to put in the packet, and we don't have anything that we would need to get any extra tax dollars from the town for. We have some savings account that we always fall back on. If we run into a major issue, we can fall back on that to help pay for something that might be an emergency or something that we might need that we didn't expect.
Council, I should have mentioned before the chief started, his revenue from previous and current years is on page 3 of your budget worksheets. And his expenses in those same time frames.
Page 8,
Starting page 8, thank you.
8 into 9.
And 9. That's where you find the fireworks, yes, on 9.
And like, if you go to page 9, you can look over to the right. And that shows you the dollar evaluations that we get from the towns and the township.
So I did ask the chief if he expected any major items over the next year, such as a building addition, which
Yeah.
is basically done.
Yeah, they made the one payment on that where the electricians are finishing up, and we'll get some heat in there and do the concrete in the spring, so. It's getting pretty close. We made the first payment on our truck. I was informed today that the truck was supposed to be here in March. And they informed me today that it would not be here till June. So we'll have to do, I was worried about getting the bond started. So we would have it done by March, because we bonded the first half, but Cindy had informed me that the second half we weren't gonna bond until it got closer, so we didn't have to pay them. So we'll have to remember when you're doing the bond that the end of that fire truck will go on top.
Was there a truck we were gonna sell to another municipality? Are they aware that it's now going to be?
Well, I figured this really isn't their fault. I signed a deal with them that they would get custody in March, so. That truck will go in March to Hazelton and we'll move a truck from Walford into Fairfax. And we will just rely on mutual aid a little bit more than we usually do. If we have an emergency. This kind of happened to us a few years back when we had a truck sold and the new truck didn't get here, but the department that was buying the old truck. The engine blew up and it was kind of in a bad way. So we can work around it for now. We'll still be doing the March sale unless that chief has a soft spot for us, but they're kind of expecting this. I'll talk to him further and keep you updated on that.
So in summary, the council could expect basically your items will be carried forward as they're looking at the fiscal year 27
Yeah.
budget. You'll see those columns are blank at the moment. But so tonight is just basically some discussions and questions, but it sounds like he's
Yep.
carrying forward.
And our budget just fluctuates with the property values of the cities and the townships, so we don't ever ask for any money, anything extra. Because usually the growth, it just kind of goes up a little bit every year, so.
And the good news on that, I didn't share that with the council yet, but we do have the valuation figures from the county. And they have gone up a little bit, nothing dramatic, but a little bit of it.
At least they didn't go down.
That's right. Well, hope that the state doesn't try to take that away from us in their current session.
Questions? Citizens? Okay. Good
Thank
deal.
you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, Eric was going to do, building part, but he had a P and Z meeting at 7, so. We'll move on, we'll let the library go next, let's ask some people to talk about that.
So just real quick,
Okay.
I know he's gone, but I assume we're removing the low portion of the revenue since we're terminating that agreement.
Yes, so that,
Page 3, that's right below the fire contracts. So building department payload.
got it, thank you. Okay, the library, would you like to talk about a few things on yours, the library? Revenue. Starts on page 3. What do you want to talk about first, Bruce, the CIP amount or your?
No, let's talk about that. So first, Bruce Pohl, for those who don't know me, library board. So budget wise, it's pretty unexciting. We're pretty flat. We are doing 5% raises for the staff. We kind of balance that out though by adjusting some other things. So it ends up being relatively flat. I'm not gonna go item by item, because you don't care about $50 here, $100 there. I mean, if there's questions, so certainly can address that. So I'll stop there for any questions. Then I want to talk about this capital improvement plan, if that's okay.
Could you explain a little bit for the new council members, page 3, how township and Walford and all of that contribute to your budget?
Certainly, I don't have it in front of me, but I can tell you how they do. So we basically provide services for library services for Walford and some surrounding communities. One of the bigger ones is certainly we have an agreement with Lynn County for them to be able to use our library. It's a reciprocal kind of thing, so books are traded back and forth, and they then pay us a certain amount of money to be able to access and have people use our library. So it's it's been a sharing agreement that's been in place for years with each of them. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but that's essentially.
And has Walford committed for this next year?
Um,
Fiscal year?
yes, they have. Us look at the cap that she's been working, yes.
Are they contributing any more? I know I've asked this Kathy every year,
No,
based on the percentage of people that they
yeah, this
have
year.
come here, how much more are they paying? And I
Yeah.
assume the answer is still not more.
Yeah, which that's an opportunity for us to be took from the trust, is yeah, they. But yeah, they're. Any other questions?
So are you saying that your expenses, except for the 5% salary increases are projected to be similar?
Yeah, they're very close. I don't have the sheet in front of me, but it's relatively flat, yes. The difference is, and that's what will be the capital improvement stuff, so that's what we'll address next.
Also, do you have any questions before he talks about capital improvement project?
You actually rent out the rental for the room?
Great.
Okay.
If no other questions, I'll go ahead and talk, and I wrote this up so that I didn't ramble here, so I'll just read what I had written and let's go from there. So, as a community, I think we should be proud of all the accomplishments that have occurred over the last several years. A great example of this is Joe's achievements with our Parks and Recreation program, and we just have an example of that tonight. We're talking about the pickleball. We continue to do some wonderful things. Building on these successes, we are eager to participate in Chris's planned downtown revitalization, which was brought up in the as a first subject in the December meeting, with the library upgrade serving as a cornerstone project within the broader urban renewal initiative. We believe the library has the potential to become a vibrant hub for activity and engagement in our community. To advance this, we're proposing including the library upgrade in the city's one-year capital improvement plan, as you'll see it's on there right now. The project would involve a planned city investment not to exceed 1.6 million, which is different than what you see on the sheet in front of you, that investment million. I believe the current proposed was one-year plan has the $1 million commitment for this effort. This would leave a potential $600,000 in funding needed the following year. I would qualify that, I'll add that, Mike had brought it up before, but whether we talking about geo funding, what we were talking about, and I'll address it further down here, but I guess I'll address it right here. Following discussions with the bonding attorney last year, our recommendation is that these funds be sourced through urban renewal bonding, which would also support the broader downtown revitalization efforts. So go in with what Chris is suggesting. The caveat with that is, it's a one-time deal per project, so you can't each year suggest bonding. It's not like general bonding where you can do it. So it's whatever we do is once for that project. It's important to clarify that we understand including this project in capital improvement plan doesn't grant us any actual spending authority at this stage or approvals. Any expenditure proposals we brought before the council for approval before any funds are committed. Before seeking council approval for any of the city spending, we're looking to secure substantial private funding and then demonstrate strong public support for the project. The Fairfax, Iowa Library Foundation was established last year as a 501c3 organization to focus on fundraising for this upgrade. Currently, we've secured approximately $1 million in private funding commitments. Efforts are ongoing with private foundations and individual donors to secure an additional $1 million. We are requesting the city contribute $1.6 million to complete the funding package. This means that 55% of the project's $3.6 million total cost would come from private sources, with 44% coming from the city. And lastly, I just want to say, this has been an effort. You're probably tired of seeing me come up here, but we appreciate your continued support, and we look forward to collaborating with you on this project as we move forward. Back to Ms. Field. Any questions?
Of your fundraising, outside the $1 million grant, or not grant, excuse me, donation, since the last time we talked, because I know you're up here every year, how much additional funding did you secure from private donation?
We're in talks with between $500,000 and $700,000. So it's not finalized. One of the keys to that, just to be honest, is A big portion of that is gauging the city's interest in this. So just to put it bluntly, they're not interested in giving 500,000 to a Fairfax Foundation where maybe there's 5 people that want a library. They want to know that the city's all in, and certainly they'll want to know that we've got, public support for it. So that's a key part of that type of funding coming from an external source.
Is that a grant or a donation or?
Donation.
Donation.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go with the areas that we have people to represent us. Brian, would you like to talk next about some things that you've included?
Sure. Okay, so, Brian Burden, water, wastewater, streets, almost everything. I'm not really looking for anything specific out of the general budget, any different than last year, other than, the priority list of things that we put out in the December, list of things. As far as water, wastewater goes, after going through, there was, the well 4 treatment plant, we need to continue that. The sewer line rehab phase 2 is scheduled to possibly happen in the spring. We want to continue keeping going with that. Sewer lines in downtown are cold and having signs of serious wear, so we're gonna try and see if we can get those rehab for a while. And doing some other inspections, we found some manholes that are having issues related to the Prairie View lift station. We're getting some hydrogen sulfide deterioration. Hoping that we can do this in-house, but it may not be able to be done, so I'm doing some more investigating into that, but I think 15,000 per manhole will cover it unless we do it ourselves and it might be cheaper. We need to get a wastewater mixer. Right now we have 4 that we use for. We don't have anything extra above and beyond. When one goes down, we start losing significant wastewater treatment. I'm just looking to get one to have one on hand so I can start rotating them through as far as getting rehab done on them to make sure they keep working. So the next thing I had on the list was clarifier rehab. Some of that's deteriorating. I'm not sure how long it's gonna last. That's a more significant expense. I think we can do that in-house too, but that's just gonna be a lot more parts. That one was listed at 55,000 for parts only, so. And the next one on that list was sewer fence. We have a significant amount of the fences failing. Last year, we just took some money that we had left available, bought some parts, started fixing the worst part of the fence, and want to just keep continuing around. Insurance, I asked them, they said you need to fix it. So as long as you're showing, effort into fixing it, we will be fine. But if you don't do anything, then there probably something happens and there's a significant liability to the city. So just want to keep doing that as we have funds. And then the last 2 items on that are 2 very significant expenses. I am not proposing to go for that this year, but it's just something I'm putting out there for, probably gonna have to look at that in time. It's the sewer main camera system. That's anywhere from 400,000 for that, and then a jetter truck that you're supposed to have to clean lines before you camera them, and that's anywhere from 400,000 to 750,000 for one of those. So just throwing it out there for food for thought for the future. As far as the roads and streets go, couple of things. The Bobcat Toolcat is a important tool that we would like to get. That's we've been running into several times where we've been needing another unit to do things that we either have to wait for people to either quit using the equipment we need, or we just you just don't get it done. And it just takes longer to get it done.
This unit would solve several purposes. It's kind of like a UTV, but it also doubles as like a loader type unit. It uses the attachments that we already have. And so it's a very versatile unit that we think would be very beneficial to our everyday tasks, that we can get a lot more done quicker, so. After that, there's an angle, we don't have to worry about that. Basket at the bottom of that was, a basket attachment that goes to our service truck that would make it like a lift truck that you see for like the power lines and stuff like that. It only uses it to the capability of the truck, but it would get us, so we could do some more things way safer, and the ability to do more things like the street lights and whatnot.
How do you do those now?
How are we doing that? If we can't reach it off of our basket that's limited to 10 feet, we have to hire it out. So, we go up to the top of the, whatever the flood at the splash pad. We have to get up to the top of that football every year to clean it out with this debris that the kids throw up there and whatnot. So, we're riding a harness and a chair to get up there, so we're just getting by more or less, but the basket will allow us to get up to 37 feet, so. Let's see this. Concrete paving saw. We've been wanting to do and have been doing some street repairs, and we're looking to do more street repairs, and more of those that we can do by ourselves, the farther the dollars go. We can do that now for a while, as the days go by. I'm not getting any younger, so how long we're gonna be able to keep doing, I'm not sure, but, we've been we tried this year to do, you've probably seen it on the TV, the poly lift, where they can raise it up, level stuff out, match the pieces together. And so far, it has worked. They were limited to, on the one that they just did recently, you have to saw the joint, and then they can lift it up. And when they did that, they hired somebody out, and that was, I don't know, $600-700 for them to come out, make one cut, and then they leave whenever they want to do it, have them. And they come out to lift it and found out that it wedged again, and they can only go so far, and so they had to stop. So what needs to be done is when they're lifting it, it needs to be sawed again, so that they can match it up to the right height that it needs to be. So by the time you hire somebody to come out there, now you're talking $2,000-3,000 for them to sit there for the day to do that one cut. Whereas we could be there to do that for them, with them, whatever. And so that would be, that part's still cheaper than replacing the whole panel or panels that are involved. So we're trying to go that route to see how far we can go with spreading the money out, but it also, not only just for that, it's just for any of the panels that we gotta replace, water main breaks, any of the street issues that we gotta deal with. This particular saw will cut all the way through paving. We don't have that option right now.
Can't we just rent those concrete saw?
Well, yeah, but not at 2 a.m. I mean, if you need to
That's
do that,
correct.
I mean, other than that, but yeah, you can rent them, it just takes a lot longer to go chase that stuff down, and organize it. But that is a possibility. And then the rest of the list, lawnmower rotation, we definitely need to keep rotating on those. Try to replace one every year, so they basically rotate out every 4 years, so. Street sweeper on there, I'm not proposing anything for that, that's just an idea for perhaps the future. And then anything else that, right now, we don't have any plans for trucks yet, that might have to happen next year, we'll see. Other than that, it's, anything we can get extra for street repair would be great. You know, would be money well spent.
What's the lifespan of those jetter trucks typically?
Good question. It would be several years in our particular case, because we wouldn't be using it day in and day out, and we'd be using it a fair amount for what we could do. But for them to be using it 8-10 hours a day, every day, obviously it's gonna get wore out faster.
There's only a few people in town that do that. You know, where you can, like, if he needs to have it done, then you can call and get quotes and do it. It's like Roto-Root or Kenway, there's just a few people that provide that service.
We're getting, right now, they're getting, it's not a jetter truck, it's just a back truck, the Badger, which is I believe nationwide companies coming in here getting water every day, so for the data center. By bunches. Anywhere between 4 and 10 trucks in the morning. So,
So, Brian, some of your larger proposals on the water and sewer end, since others have to be self-funded, probably should be looked at the CIP list rather than your regular budget, correct?
but probably, yeah, probably when we be getting closer to that time, I'm just throwing the ideas out there, so it's, just food for thought for the future. I think a lot in my head listed that I'm trying to fit them into our current budget, but if not, then at least they're those out there for the future if we need to do something specific.
And the money for the street repair that he's mentioning is coming from the road use funds,
Road use funds or anything else you're willing to put towards it,
lost money,
you whatever,
right? So those are the kinds of things that discussions that will need to happen before our next budget discussion to see where they all fall into place. Any other specific questions for Brian?
Brian, can you tell me who on staff has CDL?
Me and Brandon. And we are working on the rest of them. Or we're gonna be working on the rest of them. Logan just started, so we're just trying to, and then later we next, and we'll see where the next one's going.
Any other questions, council, for Brian?
Thank you.
You. Joe, would you like to go next on parks?
Well, Parks and Rec budget priorities, we've covered those already, we covered those in December, so unless anybody has a question about those, I won't waste the meeting time going back over those again. I will tell you that, I have most of my line item budgets put on the, budget report, starts on page 1. For the bottom of park savings interest. If you'd rather just go through line by line, I can do that. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to go through those as well.
Yeah, so council, Joe has put some items in here, some numbers for the next fiscal year. Do you have any, you want him to go through that? Mike says no, anybody else say no? So revenue starts on page 1.
Page 1,
Yeah.
bottom,
Right?
then it continues on page 3. I'm sorry, page 4. The bottom half. And those are revenues. And then on page 16. We start with budget item.
For the expenses. Did anything dramatically change for Joe? Just taking a quick look then.
Not dramatically, the payroll has increased, it's approximately 10%. I don't have FICA or IFRS or insurance on here yet, that's information that the clerk would typically provide. The rest of it is all stuff that I put on, and then we go through page 16, 17, and then 18. There are a couple of lost fund items. There's one item on page 19. The item on page 19 are Christmas decorations. Even though that's not under parks, it's under community beautification. Typically, that's the Parks and Rec department that would utilize that budget. We buy new Christmas decorations to replace old worn out Christmas decorations, or just new Christmas decorations, new things.
The honor program doesn't fall under your department, does it?
The honor program,
For the banners on the light pole.
it does not. Although the Parks Department has some ideas for that, and we typically are in communication with the clerk about those, but it's not necessarily a third department.
Any other questions for Joe?
I guess I would want to point one thing out to you. This is on page 17. It's other equipment, it's about a quarter of the page down. The line item is 430-6505, and that's other equipment. That I have increased to $50,000 this year. We'll need some equipment, park amenities at Parkland Heights Park. Once the pavilion is completed, we'll need trash cans, picnic tables, grills. We'll also need some additional trash cans along the trail around the pond. And then we'll need some stuff around the pickleball court and the tennis court, benches and trash cans there as well. That's really about the biggest increase.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm just asking. I know that there was in the spring, so many times people come in and damage the bathrooms. And there was fake cameras up there. Are there new real cameras there now?
At Hawks, not at Hawks, but at the complex there are. And they have been in since about June
Okay.
of last year. Yes,
Wonderful.
we do.
You're not anticipating adding any others that's not shown in the budget for.
If we do, there'll be some inexpensive cameras. The ones that we had installed are, they have the ability for us to be able to look at things on our cell phones and track it that way. We have a big monitor inside of the concession stand that we can watch people come in and out. We needed to while we were there, that kind of thing. And those cameras, we have 5 cameras at the complex. There's one on each side and then one in the breezeway. So restrooms.
I have a question for you and Brian, I guess. On page 17, more rotation. Are you sharing, is that split between budgets or how is that? Or
That's-
all parts?
That particular one is on the parks budget.
That's where it's been.
That's where it's, yeah.
And that's why, that was originally made up by Lynn, so that's how they worked it out between them, which will still
Yeah.
probably continue to work that way, but yeah. it was-
So that's the whole amount is in the parks budget?
Yeah, yes.
And for that matter, you know, there's items in that are specific to the Parks and Rec Fairfax Youth Sports Program. And then there's items in there that belong to the Parks Department as a whole. So the $335,000 in payroll, that's just not to the Parks Department. That helps pays for guys that are mowing out at Heartland Heights or wherever they're mowing at. That helps pay for that. And then the FICA and the IPERS, all that is based off of that amount, so it's not all just the youth sports program.
So as a newbie, I know there's that FYSA. Supposedly, if anything breaks down, the city pays for it in full. Do you have a list of what the city has actually bought versus what they own?
That's not accurate. Your statement's not accurate. If it breaks down, FYSA pays for the repair. If it needs to be replaced, the city at that point pays to have it replaced.
Okay, so.
And there is
List of what the city owns versus what that thing owns.
There is nothing in the concession stand that the city owns. Everything in the concession stand is owned by FYSA. There's some sports equipment, in the shed, the portable
So can
mounds,
we get a list of what that
the
would be,
portable
please?
mounds, if you let me finish, please. The portable mounds and all the balls, those are the city. Everything else is FYSA's.
Would it be possible for you to just give me a list so I know exactly?
I'll
what that-
give the entire group a list.
that would be awesome. I'd appreciate that.
I'll probably get that once the weather allows us to be out there, so it'll be a few months.
That's fine.
Any other requests or questions for Joe? Do a couple things to make sure we're covering everybody. Just highlighting a few things for you to think about after this meeting. Or the next. Let's see. Just some comments without finding an exact page number. I need to give the council a proposal. I would like, to propose, we set up a fund for, to offer free radon test kits. We can purchase them from Lynn County. And, I'm guessing it off the top of my head, maybe like $2,500, and the residents could come and obtain a radon testing, because Iowa's very high in radon. But I'll come up with an official proposal for the council to see if you're interested in that. And also, do note when you're looking at mayor and council salaries and expenses, reminder that you change the mayor's salary from 8,000 down to 4,000. So you're welcome. I know council, you haven't had much time to look through this, but we just then highlight the people that are here
Are we
tonight.
working to ensure the levy stays at 810? I know
Exactly.
that's my next question. And I don't know who's going to determine how that needs to be.
It's a
Adjusted.
backfill insurance to do that.
Yes,
That is the goal, to keep our property tax levy at 8/10. So. When all this is said and done, that's what we want to end up with. A good point. So I would encourage, we'll obviously need to have some more meetings specific to the budget. And when you look at our schedule. For accomplishing things, really, we need to have it finalized by the 1st of March, so we've got a little bit of time, but time flies. So go through this in detail, formulate your questions, and we'll move them forward. To the next meeting. Shane wants to talk with some staff and myself. When Chris returns from vacation, kind of fine tune some of the capital improvement projects. If you have any feedback on those, be sure to provide those. Anything else on the budget for tonight? Okay, if not, move on to mayor's comments. I do want to compliment Tina and Stacy for all of their hard work and effort, and the employees have been paid. We had a minor bump in the road today because our bank went to an online system, a new online system, and they're experiencing some learning curves. But we got through it. Stacy championed through it with the bank, and so everything was made on time. Mary, I think tell me when you're gonna be gone for sure, so I can make a special. 31st. January 31st to February 17th. Deb has given me her vacation already,
23rd to the 30th.
23rd to the 30th. And you're looking like you wanted to say something more.
No.
Yeah, okay. Okay, those are, my comments. Thank you, everyone, for your, feedback and, production tonight. We don't have a city admin present tonight or, clerk, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
motion, second,
All in
third,
favor?
James.
Did you get that, Cindy?
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, thank you, everyone.
Hi.
Follow that, right? Yeah.